I think we had different people in and out of the lineup, and that certainly contributed some of the chemistry execution, but in general, we should have been better. So I think it was good for the guys, the main group on Saturday, even the goal we scored or on Thursday, against Buffalo, and then the goal we scored in Toronto, I thought was a good play. Things we talked about, so we executed. So good for that unit as well. So both of them going feeling a little better about themselves. We had success against Carolina in the playoffs over the years. Will that continue? Who knows? But we know they have a great kill, and we have to work hard to get pucks back. But at the end of the day, I think it certainly helped us. Especially a run that we've never gone through here that long, where we weren't very good. But it wasn't like it was bad luck the whole time. We really struggled to execute, but we picked it up.
Bruce, how much do you put into the experience factor that your group has been here, done that? How big a role do you think that will play in this series?
Well, I think it helps when you have adversity to know that that's going to come. You got to play through it, focus on the next shift or next game, whatever it is. But I think Carolina has some now built that over the years. Maybe not the first go round we played them, but they've been right there every year now for 3-4 years. So it's an advantage that we have a few older guys in there that have won. I'd say marginally. I'm sure their leadership group gets them through their tough times. You can tell by the way they've played. So we'll take that edge if there is in fact one. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be a huge determining factor in this series.
You guys have historically had success in game ones, and I think especially since you've been here, it's like 9-11 or something like that. What goes into? Is there rivalries that goes into like setting the tone in the series?
I don't think the tone gets set necessarily right away. Personally, I think it takes a while. Like there's going to be physicality. But usually there's a little bit of hatred develops as it goes along. So I can't explain why we've been better in game one than maybe the opponent. I'd like to think we're prepared. I'm sure Roddy believes they're prepared, and sometimes it's just the way it works out. Maybe that's where our experience does come in. We've been through it a little bit, and the guys don't get too overworked about the result of game one. Just play the game the way you're supposed to. So I think that has something to do with it. I think the year we went all the way, our first game against Toronto, if I recall, was probably our worst game we've ever played in the playoffs. So sometimes you don't know. I think it was that year. We were horrible at home. We lost, I think it was 4-1, and it wasn't even that close. So, like I said, I think we're going to be fine tonight, ready to go. Whether that translates into a win, who knows? But I really don't know why we've got that leg up in the series.
Game one is more about preparation than anything else.
What's that?
So game one is more about preparation than
I think you're prepared to play the game, and the adjustments come as you go along. Like I think tonight at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, the coaching staffs at each side are going to be talking about, okay, this is maybe the direction it's going to go, or it plays out like you think. But that's when the tinkering starts. I think after each game you start thinking, okay, they exposed us here, we didn't see that coming. Okay, we got to do something tomorrow in practice to whatever. I think both teams are, like I said, playing good hockey this time of year. Expect it to be a good game, but again, I think that it takes a little while, most times, to get into it and get going and build that sort of animosity, typically.
None of the 4 goalies who are in this series have ever started a playoff game, that are available anyway. How interesting of a dynamic is that to come into this to start?
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? Like we have a experienced playoff team, and so does Carolina, yet none of the goalies are. So maybe the most important position in the playoffs. So they're going to have to get into it, right? I think the goalie that adjusts, to whatever they're going through the quickest will probably be better tonight. Doesn't mean they will be the next night. I think, each game you play as a player that you haven't played, you get a little more comfortable. So I think it's not unique to this year. Like Shesterkin, does he play? Like he hasn't played either. There's a few goalies around that haven't played. I don't think DeSmith has played a lot, unless he went in for Jerry Lash. There's some younger goalies. Or unproven goalies, I guess, playoff goalies throughout the playoffs this year.
Part of going out and getting Foligno was this time of year. What specifically are you looking for from him as juxtaposed to what he delivered during the regular season?
Well, how he finished, Kevin, he was physical, puck possession was good on that line. It didn't translate to a lot of offense, but in the playoffs, if you can have shifts like that, wear down their D, it has an effect over game one, game two, game three. So that's what we expect out of him. Physicality, good puck management, ozone possession time for their line. That would be ideal. If they could pitch in offensively, great. I think they've been close, but not probably where they want to be, obviously. But at the end of the day, that's the ask.
You've talked about his voice in the room a number of times during the year. Significant now?
You would hope that there's certain times in a game where he can settle people down or get them back in the right place. He's been there and done it. We have Bergie and Marsh to do that. We've had some players now that have been here. Even our young guys, Pass has been through a little bit. Carlo, McAvoy, Lindholm we acquired, played in the big playoff series. So we have more of that. Nick will have to do his part, especially if you're not playing that 17, 18 minutes every night, then you want that intangible. And he's done it all year for us, and I would expect we'd hear more from him tonight as well when we need to.
Coach, their defense can really move the puck, really transition well. What did you think maybe you weren't doing in the regular season that maybe you need to do now?
Jimmy, I'm not sure we did anything well against this team in the regular season, so we're not going to go too far back on that. We just didn't play well against them. I thought the game up here we did. It was a good hockey game. I think it was 3-0. They scored a couple that went in off our guys. Could have went either way. Goaltending was good. It was physical. Games at home, we weren't very good. They were. So what I'll take from those games is what they did, and less about what we did. We just have to be better. We have no chance in how we played them earlier in the year. We feel we're a different team than some of those nights. So I think that's gone from our guys. But to your question of what I took from is how they played, is they can get on the attack. They don't mess around with their own end. It's on and off their D stick if they're not wheeling, and then they're supporting it quick, and they're winning board battles. To me, it's not rocket science, to be honest with you. The teams that win those board battles tend to be good hockey teams because a lot of the games played there. There's certainly some open ice plays that every team makes, but when the room gets smaller and tighter, it's those teams that win puck battles, and usually they take place in corners along the boards. They'll have more puck possession, and that lends to more success, and that's what they were able to do against us.
Take one more if there is one more.
Brad obviously has high expectations for himself. Do you think this was a season where he goes into the playoffs feeling good about his game overall, his season, what he put out there this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brad will look at his season and there'll be some highs and a few lows. Offensively didn't end as well as he'd like to, but I don't think that'll bother him. He knows that playoffs, everything sort of resets. It's a different time of year. It's a different animal. He's been able to step up through his whole career. So I don't imagine this will be any different, at least his mindset, whether it happens or not. Carolina's going to have something to say about that, but I don't think he'll look back on this year and it'll affect him one iota of going into the playoffs, other than he has to be one of our best players if we expect to win.
Thanks, Coach. Brad Marchand will be up next year.